Welcome in the ring, folks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are happy that so many of you can join us this evening. Quite a program set for you, quite a bit of information we have to share with you guys this evening. And as you know, as you come on, we invite you to share the live stream. We are thankful for those of you who are joining us on Twitter, those of you who are joining us on YouTube, those of you who are joining us on Facebook. Quite a program, guys. Let's get rolling. Share the live stream. Those of you who are joining us on Twitter, you can give us a retweet, share your comments. Those of you who are joining on Facebook, you can give us a share on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel and share your comments as well on YouTube, guys. We are ready to go. Quite a bit of information to share with you guys. So we wanna get packing, ensuring that we have everything set at our end as well. And we are going to share the live stream a couple places too. And then we are going to be with you guys. So let's get going, folks. Let's get going. We are fired up and we're ready to go. I'm gonna share it a couple places as well. And not only ask you to do something that I'm not doing too. So I'm sharing it, Brian. Good to see all of you guys. Good to see all of you guys who are joining us at home here in Guyana and also in the diaspora. All right, so I'm going to share a couple places. Bear with me. Let me share a couple places too, guys. Hope you guys had a good weekend. We had a long weekend, Hope you guys are very, very restful. All right. All right, let me circulate too. Circulate. Let me circulate. A lot of things happened over the weekend, folks. When we speak, we spoke. Sharing it a couple places too. All right. Almost ready? Guys, welcome in the ring. Let's fight. Let's fight. Had a good weekend. Hope you guys had a good weekend as well. All right. I got to share it a couple other places. While you guys share as well, I'm going to seek the opportunity and share as well. All right. We're almost at our magic number. We ain't wasting time tonight. We're going to have some company. We're going to have a couple guests who are going to stop by and walk us through the paces. All right, let me shut off all these apps. The phone now taking so long. It used to be the computer. Now, now it's the phone. The phone. All right, let me go from the start. Good to see all of you guys here with us. I don't know. I look a bit short. I don't know. Let me try to bring myself up a little bit there. Good to see each and every one of you. All right. So, guys, I invite you to share wherever you're picking this up from this evening. Share this live stream. All right. I see Binker's already with us, and Corinne and Vina and Patricia, Audrey, and is it Aslem, Peppy, and Tessa? Bring myself up. A whole lot of folks. All right. So let me share it a couple of places first, and then I'm gonna come back and we start proper. Y'all are wasting time tonight, boy. That's a whole set of fast people on Facebook. Whole set of fast people. All you are wasting time at all. All right, let me do what I gotta do. Share a couple other places and then we get to go in. Good Friday coming up, folks. I hope y'all bringing yourself in alignment with the with what has to happen over this weekend. It's a holy weekend. I hope you all are bringing yourself into alignment for Lent during this Lenten period. All right, so I've shared it where I need to share it, guys, and I'm ready to go. I don't know about you guys. I'm ready. Are we where we need to be? We are almost there. We're almost there, folks. All right, let me do what I need to do before I start. And I'm watching you folks to make sure that we are all ready. All right. I'm almost ready too, guys. I'm almost ready. Good to see each and every one of you. Good to see you guys. All right. I am about ready. Almost there. Almost at the magic number, folks. We're almost at the magic number. Almost at the magic number. And yep. Good to see all of you on. Good to see all of you with us this evening. Welcome, folks. Welcome. All right. I'm ready to go. If you guys are ready to go, I am fired up and I am ready for you guys tonight. Right? You know, usually say home in Guyana, who and dead badly wounded. All right, guys, ready to go. All right, so I see I have one of my co-hosts, guest slash co-host, who look like he lashing a half Chinese and a small cokes. All right, good to see you guys. Let me make sure that I think I'm set now and ready to go. Meetings. All right, so I'm going to get through a couple of these stories, and then I'm going to bring on my co-host, who is going to be helping us this tonight. All right, guys, good to see each and every one of you. All right, so what format do I need? That one? Yeah, guys, I'm ready to go. So let's start with our hot topics. Well, of course, if you guys, unless you've been living under a rock, you would have been privy by now to the statement coming out of Roger Khan at the Ricardo Fagundes funeral, who he calls his son. And from all that he said, he is deeply, deeply hurt by what has transpired over the last week or two, where Mr. Fagundes was gunned down outside of Palm Court. And we are going to be bringing you some of that statement coming out of Mr. Khan, and then we are going to have some commentary on the other side. So bear with us as we ensure that we get the cue right, and then we're going to come right back with some commentary on the other side, folks. Bear with us.
I'm going to tell you something. When the state security, that night, state security apparatus failed the Barry. It failed him. And in the past week, the state security investigation has failed him and his family. And I'm telling you, history can tell us that when there is no state security, lawlessness will prevail. The hearts of men bleed for justice. It's a natural, God-given, inalienable thing that God gives man to strive for justice. And this act here, this injustice, if the police do not investigate this crime and follow the evidence rather than follow the money or any kind of corrupt motive, the hearts of men will become enraged.
The hearts of men will become enraged, ladies and gentlemen. The hearts of men will become enraged. I want to bring on Randolph Critchlow, who's going to be helping me through some of the paces here this evening. And I do think I have Randy with me.
Mm-hmm.
Randy, a very good evening.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Randy is doing
All
something
right,
there.
we're going
But
live. We're going live.
there you have it. Those are the comments. Randy, you need
Yes.
to adjust something at your end because I'm getting the echo.
You're getting what? Sorry.
I was getting an echo. Sorry about that.
Okay, sorry.
Go right ahead, Randy.
So I'm not seeing myself, so I'm wondering. Hold on. Still getting an echo. You getting the echo now?
We're good to go, Randy.
Sure, you're looking at it short tonight.
I don't know what is happening, but I'm going to adjust that. Let me bring you up, and I'm going to adjust that. Go right
Uh,
ahead, Randy.
Good night, folks. Good night, folks. Of course, you're seeing this set of the afternoon rush. Happy to be here on in the ring. So don't be confused. You're seeing rush on this side, and you're seeing in the ring. Sherrod will be back. Sherrod is adjusting his height. He looks a little short tonight. But we started there with those statements from Mr. Roger Khan, who said, you know, the hearts of men will bleed for justice, Sherrod.
Yeah, those were the sentiments, Randy, and quite a statement. Quite a statement. Of course, understandably very hurt by the death of Mr. Ricardo
For
Fu,
Gondes.
Fugandes, who lost his life very tragically as a patron of Palm Court. And we saw a response coming out of the police force almost immediately. What were your thoughts about that, Randy?
Well, I'm sure I guess the police had to respond. Um, the reality is that the things brought up by um, the things brought up were not false; they were factual. He highlighted the fact that look, you know what, this vehicle was parked in front of here for 20 minutes. They went up the East Coast unencumbered. So I mean,
Yeah,
as an average citizen, I'm asking those same questions also. Um, you know, they and the police force had a responsibility to respond because they were being impugned. Basically, they were, he was accusing them of not doing their job. So
correct,
I saw the response as warranted,
correct.
where they said they are treating this with the utmost seriousness, and they refute some of the comments that he made. But I mean, there are more questions than answers, Sherrod. More questions than answers.
Yeah, and we just have to wait and see how this plays out. But our thoughts and our prayers are with the deceased and his family. There's a poet that says every death diminishes us, and our thoughts and prayers go to the family. They claim they were being harassed by the police, and a whole host of other allegations were made. But again, our thoughts are with them, and we're going to see how this one plays out. Randy?
Definitely, Sherrod. I mean, um, whenever we lose someone, we are hurt. We are definitely hurt, and we call for justice. And that is, it is a strange sort of time in our country. I have said from the beginning, Sherrod, that we will see a rise and a spike in serious crime in this country, in
Uh-huh.
serious crimes, because we know of the corruption and lawlessness of the PPP, and you don't want to wish these things upon the country that you live in, but it's a fact, it's a reality that under the PPP we this is a state of affairs. This is a state of affairs. So I mean, a lot of things that are happening in our society, we cannot be surprised. We cannot be surprised. This is par for the course as it relates to the PvP and their handling of security in this country.
One of the things that was said is that by Mr. Khan, that there were at least 40 rounds, if not more, fired at Mr. Fagundes, and at least 25 hit him. And Mr. Khan said that these bullets were meant for him and not Mr. Fagundes, who again he describes as his son.
It's interesting to listen to the details surrounding this case, Sherrod. I mean, he recounted the fact that the man went to pick up his vehicle, and even before he said that at the funeral, there were reports in certain media houses that Roger Khan was the intended target of this, and he called view, but he basically said that he took it on himself. He said, "Listen, I'm speaking to you from the dead, basically, because every
Yeah,
single one of those bullets were
from the
intended for me."
grave. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and in that statement that he put out, he called on the president to ensure an impartial investigation, and that this is treated no less than with the seriousness or urgency that the Henry Boyce investigation has been treated with. I don't know if he wanted to use that really and truly, because where that is concerned, the police investigation of even that matter leaves a lot to be desired, Randy.
that
Randy,
was
your audio. Yeah.
interesting. That was very interesting. You hear me, Sharon?
Yes.
That was very interesting because had to use the Henry Boys more than the police action or lack thereof as a barometer for how they should treat with this case. For me, it was very strange because the Henry family is still appealing for justice. They don't believe that the police would have done what they're supposed to do in this matter. So, I wouldn't have used that as a barometer because I don't see justice coming out of the Henry Boys' murder. So, that was very strange to me.
Yeah. Again, it's interesting to see what will happen. A lot of there's a lot of rumors that are out there that I don't want to necessarily put forward on this program. A lot of backstory that you are hearing. People call you, people email you, they write you, Randy, and try to give you the picture from all ends. But again, we'll just have to wait and see what the Guyana Police Force comes up with, and what happens next as it concerns the investigation of the brutal murder of Mr. Ricardo Fagundes, who Mr. Roger Khan describes as his son, who he said lived with him before he went to prison and took care of him even after he came out of prison, and who he was with at Palm Court and members of his immediate family.
Yeah, definitely, sure, definitely. We just have to, as a nation, continue to look on and see what is happening.
Randy, moving along, I want to turn our attention now to some of what has been happening at local government, because it's quite interesting what is happening at the local government level. Again, Darmlal name calling, and it is being said here that regional chairmen and vice chairmen have had their stipends and salaries cut. They said they're not certain if it's a salary, if it's a stipend, because they use the terms interchangeably. But these stipends and salaries, or rather remuneration across the board, were increased under the APNU AFC government. And now they are saying that it has been cut under the PPP, and they have not even explained to them why they're not receiving the kinds of remuneration they used to receive under the APNU AFC. So it's a whole host of, I would say that this country is in a crisis, really and truly, at all levels of government. You are seeing all of this host of fiascos playing out. Randy?
Sure, I don't know if we still getting the feedback. But I would have outlined earlier in my show one particular area, the COVID-19 grant, which would have been administered by the same ministry that you highlighted just now, local government, and the same
Mhm.
minister that has been in total shambles. And it is beyond me to understand what is the plan, what is the end goal of Mr. Damla. He seems to just throw a spoke in everything and cause confusion wherever he goes. And I
He's
can't
confusion
figure out where.
powder. He's confusion powder. The essence of it.
Yeah, I don't. I really. I'm at loss to figure out what is his plan to cause as much confusion as possible. Whether it be fiddling with the local authorities and imposing your will, or um overseeing the disastrous COVID distribution.
Randy, let me bring on somebody who understands Dharmlal very, very well, who has dealt with him in the
His
past, who
friend,
continues to deal with him.
his friend.
The one and only Mr. Ganesh Mahi Paul. Ganesh, you understand this well. What is happening there with our regional chair and vice chair and other members at the local government level who said that they have had their stipends slash salary slashed?
Now, not only the regional chairman and the vice chair, but when we took office in 2015, we had what you call a national conference on local democratic organs, NCLDO,
Mhm.
National Conference of Local Democratic Organs, something along that line. What really it entailed was bringing all the local authority areas together. That is the NDCs, the mayor and town councils, and also the overseers and the RDC chairperson and vice
Uh-huh.
chairperson and council. So we brought all the local authority bodies together in one room at the Otterton Conference Center. And we had a 2 day conference with them. And we were meshing out how we are going to deal with local government in our country. We were talking about chartering a course forward in
Yeah.
terms of devising a strategy that can be dealt with across the board, and you can have this equity, so you're not going to treat no community above another. And that was the importance of the NCLDO, the National Conference on Local Democratic Organs. Coming out of that conference, the Ministry of Communities began to give overseers $40,000 addition to their salaries. So if overseers were working for $50,000 a month or $60,000 a month, the ministry provided them with an additional 40,000 each. So
Hmm.
that was 70 overseers receiving an additional $40,000 from the ministry along with their salaries from their respective NDCs. We agreed to give regional chairpersons $300,000, regional vice chairperson $240,000, mayors of coastline we were giving 75,000, and mayors of hinterland I think 85,000 or somewhere thereabout. Mayors of hinterland and deputy mayors of hinterland, they were getting a little bit more than the mayors of coastland and the deputy mayors of
And
coastland.
understandably
And
so.
here, the important point is that these are monies that is in addition to what they are receiving from their local authority area, right? So we were basically providing more disposable income to
Yeah.
the officers. Addition, there were other things that came out from that conference too, like strategies and plans and how they're gonna tackle different situations. Since January of 2021, Sherrod,
Yeah.
these officers have
Confusion.
not been receiving this money. Since January of this month, this year, they have not been receiving this money. So Nigel Dharamlal, in my view, is not a policy maker. He is, in my
Nigel is not
opinion,
anything, Ganesh. Nigel is not
he is, in
anything.
my opinion, a dictator. He is a dictator. He is power drunk. He
I think
was
Randy's back
given
with
an
us.
opportunity to serve as a minister, fraudulent as he is, and he is trying to trample on the democratic process and on the rights of these workers. And it is very, very scary at the Ministry of
Yeah.
Local Government and Regional Development. He
Yeah.
had a meeting the other day, Friday, he had a meeting, and that meeting was a political gaffe instead of addressing the issues. And I see
Yeah.
that
That's the
he
nature of it.
tried to answer, he tried to answer the issues in the letter that the staff sent in a Facebook post today, and he said that the issue is being highlighted by a known miscreant. I don't know if he was looking in the mirror when he was writing that Facebook post.
Interesting. Ganesh, and I'm happy that Randy is back with us, but we have a further deterioration is happening on your side, Ganesh, in Region 3 at at the West Denver Regional Hospital. Ganesh, if you get sick tonight, if Randy gets sick and you got to go to West Denver Hospital, you're in problems. You're in problems,
Deep problems, deep problems.
right? I hear they got issues with porters. If you gotta get a porter to carry in, you're in problems because you might get left on your own. They got problems with doctors, medication. Tell us what's happening there at the regional
Well,
hospital,
since
Ganesh. This is yours.
Sharad, since the People's Progressive Party fraudulently came to office, what they did was to remove the duly qualified regional health officer that was holding that post. And that
Mhm,
gentleman is a man by the name of Dr. Sardel Makwat. He
mhm,
is a qualified doctor and he was working in the medical fraternity before he was promoted to regional health officer. And there was a process that led to him being promoted to regional health officer. He wasn't just a person we picked up and put there. And when the PPP fraudulently came to office, they removed him and they replaced him with a young lady by the name of Dr. Fort, Forte, Dr. Fort. Dr.
mhm.
Fort is a candidate on the national top up list for the People's Progressive Party. So, her
Right.
thank you for being a PPP candidate
For
was not
30 pieces of silver.
dismissal. Her thank you for being a candidate on the PPP list was not a dismissal, nor was
Mhm.
it a nor was it a crime or a breach
Yeah,
of any
yeah,
constitutional provision. It was
yeah,
a promotion. So she
yeah,
moved from being an ordinary doctor that only had, I think, about 1 or 2 years experience to the regional health officer position.
Oh, wow.
And since she took over, it is reported to me
Wow.
that on her first day
She's
on
doing
the
a lot of
job,
things.
on her first day at the job, she asked when will her refrigerator be stocked with juice
Oh,
and the
wow.
like. That was her major concern on her first day. But more than that, since
Uh-huh.
she took over, the hospital fell significantly. Now, in 2015, when the coalition took over, that hospital was below zero. And
Mhm.
we had to really put work into that hospital. Staff motivation. We had to do so many programs to
Yeah,
motivate staff.
yeah,
We rebuilt 2 theaters so that they can start doing surgery at the West End Hospital. We had to basically lift the aesthetics of that compound, make it more conducive to nurses and doctors. It was
yeah,
tremendous work and effort the coalition had to put in to get that hospital to the standard it
yeah,
was when we gave them in 2020.
yeah.
Now the hospital has fallen from grace. Miss
Like much of the
Dr.
PPP.
Ford, Dr. Ford seems to have a lot of personal issues with other doctors. And you know, that is the difference between being a manager and being someone that gets a job because of their affiliation.
Mhm.
Dr. Ford is hurting the West Demerara Regional Hospital.
Yeah,
Eight,
shortage in drugs.
eight,
A lot
Gerard,
of porters were sent
eight
home.
doctors,
Yep,
eight
yep.
doctors resigned today. In one day, eight doctors sent in their resignation letter. And
From
it is
West Demerara
because,
Regional Hospital.
yes, at the West Demerara Regional Hospital, and it's because they had a meeting with the medical superintendent in the name of Dr. Duncan and Dr. Fort, who's the RHO. And instead
Yeah,
of addressing these doctors' issues, what they did was to tell the doctors that because of the shortage of drugs and so on, this is what was reported to me, right? That they will have to now work, and because of the heavy load in terms of patients, doctors will now have to work three different locations simultaneously. Meaning,
Interesting, Ganesh.
meaning
Interesting. I
if
want to
you
pull
are
in.
a doctor,
Uh,
Sharad, meaning if you are a doctor and you turn up to work 8 o'clock at the accident and emergency unit, you also would have to go and turn up to work at the ward, whether it's the main
mm,
ward or female ward. And you also will have to go to the clinic and work at the clinic. So you're doing all
that's not a
three
hospital.
in
It's a slave
one.
ship. It's a
And
slave ship.
they also want to double the hours. So not
Yeah.
only are these doctors working the 8 hour shift, they have to work sometimes 16 and 24 hours. All of
Yeah.
this is what was reported to me. And
Very interesting.
to compound it, they're not getting any extra money for that. They have to give it off their own because they were instructed to do so by the regional health officer based on what
Very
was
interesting.
reported to me. And
Yeah.
what was further reported to me is that the West Demerara Regional Hospital doesn't even have a $10 Panadol to give a sick
But
patient.
Ganesh, and on that very note, Randy, of the shortages there at the West Demerara Regional Hospital, Ramsamy said that an updated consumption reports on drugs across the regions could have been used to obviate the shortages currently being experienced. So he's saying that the persons who were in charge of updating this report, this system across the country, across the regions, failed to do so, and that could have helped, right? So it's not really a drug shortage, probably according to him, right? But he's seeing that this problem could be rectified by June. How many of us gonna die by June, Ganesh, for the drugs that aren't in the hospitals? It's madness.
Sherrod,
Madness.
Sherrod, there's every day you see these reports coming from these hospitals. And I want the Guyanese public to understand that it's been 8 months now since this fraudulent administration assumed the reins of power. They were installed and they were given the reins of power 8 months ago. You are trying to tell me that you are so bad at managing that in 8 months you can't realize that in 1 month, if you put some secondary school children, they can tell you that they get shortage there, here, and they can work to figure it out.
Yeah,
Why is
yeah.
it that we have, if you're saying, because the general assumption that the PPP is running with, and they're trying to feed the narrative to the people is that, look, we came and we met these shortages. So you're telling me in 8 months you couldn't figure out how to fix it? So we have
And
shortages,
Randy and Ganesh,
shortages from
this is a scenario. This is a scenario where there is Ramsamy there, a
right.
former Minister of Health in the ministry now. You've got the other one. What's his name? What's the
Barry
fellow's name?
Ramsaran.
Barry Ramsaran is there, another former health minister. And then you got Frank, three health ministers, and we got all these problems in the health sector. Sweet Jesus have mercy. And they
And
drawing
Dr.
money.
Vishwa Mahadio is there also.
Huh?
Dr. Vishwa Mahadio is there too, and
Yes.
he is the Director General.
Yeah. And so the public got a sense of what we talk about. When we talk about all used tires, they bring nothing new to the system. But
This is just another sector, Sheriff. This is not just another sector where we are returning to pre-2015 standards.
Yeah.
Pre-2015 corruption, pre-2015 madness.
Yeah.
It's
Guys, I got quite a few
industry.
things for us to touch on.
It's like in the health industry, it's the same as in the cocaine industry.
Yeah. Well, the cocaine industry doesn't seem to have shortages. that being said, fellas, there is a gas shortage, and people are bawling at the pumps, right? People are bawling. People might have expected that for a country who producing oil, that gasoline might have been cheaper, right? Persons might have thought so, but folks, this was a comment on social media just today. We saw this comment on social media. Man said that they gave him with one hand and they take him double with the other hand. They gave him with one hand and they take it double with the next hand. And mind you, I was advised that this is a PPP supporter. This would have been one of their guardians. They give it one hand garnishment and they take it double with the next. The pocket thieves in this government. Facts.
Well, Sharad, if I may, we sometimes I sit and
As
I
a
say to
driver,
myself,
you may.
sometimes I sit and I tell myself that you know what? Sometimes this is the wake up call that Guyanese needed because in the 5 years that the coalition had in office, we really tried our utmost to bring this country together in unity. We focused on social cohesion because we understood the importance, and we still do understand the importance of us living together as one nation. We had a department focusing primarily on social cohesion. We focused on building and strengthening the public sector because it is the public sector that people like you and me, the rich and the poor, would have to go for service. In the hospital, they will have to go for service. Public works, they will require good roads, good streets,
Yeah,
street lighting,
yeah,
seawall, infrastructure, bridges, better infrastructure. They will need that. We gave them that. Public security, we were talking about strengthening our police force, empowering our police force, basically providing that service that is so needed. In terms of public health, we understood that there was need for us to overhaul the system we inherited and bring a brand new aroma to the environment and to the room. In the field of social services, we were talking about taking care of the elderly. We were talking about having focus on our children and our vulnerable. In the field of education, we transformed the education system to the point where we enjoyed the best CXC results and CAPE results our country ever had in the past. The coalition had a good system.
yeah, correct.
What was needed now is to build from that system, to strengthen our country from that system. And I think people understand clearly now more than ever that time is important in developing a
Correct.
country. And
Correct.
4.5 years, or even if you want to say 5 years of the coalition, was simply not enough. But it was that 5 year that laid the foundation. And this 5 year would have lifted us out of that nightmare that we
Yeah.
inherited in 2015. We had to lay the foundation. We had to ensure that our country was set on strong, firm, committed, and dedicated foundation. So that when we start to fly our wings, when we
Yeah.
start to open
Yeah.
our arms
Yeah.
and fly our
Talk
wings,
to me.
we know that it's a firm liftoff. It's a
Yeah.
firm takeoff, not a
Yeah.
fragile one, a firm one that will keep us in the air and it will keep us afloat for a long, long period. That is
Correct.
what the
Formal set.
coalition was doing. But there came the PPP, and the PPP crumbled the foundation they inherited, set a fragile, broken eggshell foundation, and want to take off now, and they can't just get off the air. They can't get off. Their wheels cannot be lifted because they are not on firm, sound foundation. They have
Agree, Kelly.
destroyed what they inherited. They have
Yeah.
destroyed the strength that was left there for them to lift off from. Instead, they fired workers left, right, and center. Instead, they started to marginalize sections of our society. They started to attack particular ethnic group and also the Amerindians and in East Indians. I am an East Indian that suffered under the PPP. Marvin Williams was fired. John Adams, Region 9, was fired. There are Indians, Amerindians, and Africans in the majority that suffered greatly the actions of the People's Progressive Party. The
Yeah.
core workers
Right.
from the Ministry of Public Infrastructure across the country were being fired. Let one lost 5 workers not too long ago. Wakenham lost 5 workers not too
Yeah.
long ago. The West Bank of Demerara lost 4 workers not too long ago. So the People's Progressive Party want to give us this impression as though
Yeah.
they care. They talk about oneness,
It's
and this
fraudulency.
oneness has nothing, and it is a big sham. You know, I see a fraudulent President Ali today in Buxton, and he took out 2 pictures and he's sharing on his Facebook page that he had a conversation with those people. But
Yeah, cook some cook up
I want to know, does the fraudulent president go into areas of his stronghold and have conversation with him? No. He takes bagloads of bumpers. He takes millions of dollars and he
yeah,
gives it out.
correct,
The Buxton seems
correct.
not to be in that
And Danish
catchment
is an
area.
important point you raise
We
there. When
as
they go to Tiger
Guyanese,
Bay, when they go to Tiger Bay, they go to McDome and Agricola, they go to Buxton. It's always a bat and a ball. That's all we can do. Give us a
yeah,
break.
and we as Guyanese, we must not be gullible. We must not be gullible. We must be sensible and
Yeah,
we must stand up to our leaders and we must tell
yeah,
them what is it that we require in our communities, both from AP
yeah,
and UAFC and from the PPP. We must be able to
yeah.
be strong enough to confront them because it is us who put
And
them
Ganesh,
where they are.
on that,
Unfortunately, in this election, the masses did not put the PPP where they are. They fraudulently
fraudulent
put
vote.
themselves here.
On that notion of leadership, Ganesh, I want to bring to your attention that it was Mr. Jagdeo who wanted to go in public and cuss down Annette Ferguson, but Annette beat him. Huh? Annette beat him.
You know, when I saw
In
the
a
thing, I sent
libel
Annette
suit
a
that
message,
Annette
you know.
brought against and a libel suit that Annette Ferguson, member parliament, brought against Mr. Jagdeo a couple months ago. She won in the High Court today, and now he has to pay $20 million or forfeit his property and so on, fellas.
Well, here now, when I saw that, I sent Annette a private message. I'm not going to tell you what that private message was, but
Compliment. Oh, thanks, man.
I see that that Jagdeo is saying that he is going to appeal it basically
Of
because he
course.
believes that he should be heard or what's not.
Right.
All I have to say to that is that you cannot cry, Jagdeo. You cannot cry about due process not being followed when you and your administration is firing people left, right, and center without due
Yeah,
process. When you
yeah.
are doing everything in your power to destroy people's lives without following due process. So what you're telling me about due process? Give Annette her $20 million so I can get a cut of it.
But I
And
will add
remember,
this. I want to add this, Sharon and
right ahead,
Ganesh,
Randy. Right ahead. Jump in there.
that in reading the publication from, I think it's Demerara Waves, I'm picking this up from, where the Attorney General, the man who was given the mandate to go and reclaim lands, he basically said that look, there are a number of extenuating circumstances that cause them not to file a defense.
Who
So he said,
cares?
yeah,
Who cares?
right,
Grange
these
did
Who
serve
circumstances
cares?
areas control right
contributed.
in the case. Get lash out. Give us a break.
Right, good. So here he's saying these circumstances contributed to the error of not filing, no,
And
but non-filing of a defense.
it'll getting old, man. And it'll getting old.
Right,
He pulling a thing there. He pulling a Gale to Shearer. You know, Gale
right.
Yeah,
to Shearer for me is the world's best bluff.
yeah,
So he pulling a
yeah.
Gale to Shearer
Darren, where
on
was
the country.
Annette Lloyd by chance?
I don't know if
I
you
didn't
know.
hear you.
I don't
I
know
was
the
just asking
person,
if Darren Wade wasn't Annette Lloyd because Darren beating Annette in the court plenty these days. I don't getting old.
but you can't come and tell the media that listen, COVID and elections make you didn't file a defense. You have a case in court. Your job is to file a defense. You didn't
He
file a
fighting the
defense,
wrong cases. That's the
right?
problem. He
You
fighting the
The
cannot.
wrong.
You
court,
cannot. What that Randy? what I understood him to say there is that the court is not important in his view. He had more important issues
Court working for he. The court working
than the instruction of the court. So if you think that you have more authority to deem what is necessary and more important than the court, then the court would have given you exactly what you were looking for.
And this is the
Right,
same thing.
right.
This is the same thing that happened in the Mingo case. Chief Justice Roxanne George Wilshire said she asked him, "You still want to bring this court by? You want to bring this case?" He said, "Yes, he got the evidence to show." And then the day before the lady issued her judgment, he withdrew the case. The lady cussed him out stinking. She said, "You waste the court's time." And that's what happened here. You understand me? They like to talk, and who could carry a case? Who could sue people more than Anil? You understand me? You take your licks and pay the money, man, and shut your mouth.
Exactly. Take your licks like a man. Pay the
Right?
money, man. That's just a little, as they would say, that's just a feather out of Jagdeo's cap.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
That's
it's a strange thing, Sharon, that we're talking about due process and and procedure. When there were two affidavits filed to say that look, this was an error when the wrong date written on the of David Granger, the 18th instead of the 24th or something like that, or the
Yeah,
24th instead of the 18th,
yeah,
and you rejoice, you throw a big party because the Chief Justice threw it out for that one technicality. When there were two affidavits in the court saying, look, we made an error, you now went file no defense. And then you're claiming that, look, they had COVID and they had elections.
yeah.
As your
What they
attorney
didn't have was
coming to us
Mendez in
telling
this
us
case.
that
Mendez didn't have it in
bullshit.
this case. That's the problem.
What is good for the goose must be good for the gander.
I like that. I like that. Fellas, in other news, we were talking about Mr. Darren Wade earlier, and I want to bring him back again. Um, Over the weekend, Attorney at Law Darren Wade put a statement on Facebook that I think should not go unnoticed. And this is where it concerns the assault of Member Parliament Tabitha Sarabo Haley by Mr. Kwame McCoy. Um, in that statement, Ganesh and Randy, um, Mr. Darren Wade, attorney at law, said that whenever a citizen makes an assault allegation, the police standard operating procedure is to charge, and it is for the magistrate to determine guilt. The advice received by the speaker by the police, sorry, the advice given to the speaker by the police in the Tabitha Sarabo Hali versus Kwame McCoy matter is very unusual and strange. He goes on to say that if the police are correct, no one should ever be charged with assault because with assault, you do not require a medical certificate. The mere statement by the virtual complainant alleging that you were assaulted by the particular person is usually good enough for the charge to be proffered. So what has transpired here in this Kwame McCoy story? Right? Is it
If
the state apparatus failing Tabitha Sarabo Haley?
Yeah, just like I would feel the man that was gunned down, just like I would feel the Henry boys. Right? This is the people. Yeah, but
the pro- the procedure has always been since I was a little child growing up and following the law and how the police would operate. You know, I spent about 4 years of my life on the island of Wakenham at Mariah's pleasure, and I have witnessed arguments, countryside cuss out, so to speak, between neighbors. And you know, the police would be summoned, and when the police comes, all the police will hear is that this one tell me that and that one tell me the other. You know, there is basically an exchange between the two. And what the
Mhm.
police would do is to take statements from both sides and send them to the court and let the magistrate determine whether A is guilty or B is guilty, and the magistrate will decide how he or she will deal with the matter. But here you have now a situation where the police basically uh, they tried it themselves and they draw their
Yeah.
conclusion themselves, as
Yeah.
opposed to the statements that were given to them. And then they are supposed to, as far as I'm concerned, charge Mr. McCoy because the allegation is made that he assaulted Tabitha Sarabu Hali. They had two witnesses, I think, that provided statements to them, and there were other reactions of Kwame McCoy that can lead one to believe that he indeed is guilty of doing that act, committing that act, and they should have sent the matter to the court because a charge is not a proven offense. A
Correct.
charge is not a proven offense. Anybody can be
Correct.
charged. Child,
Yeah.
you can be charged, Randy, you can
Yeah.
be charged. But you now have to go to the court and be
Yeah.
exonerated, or you have to put up a defense, so to speak, where the other side will put up their side of the story, and then the magistrate will be the adjudicator. That's the system that we have in our country, and that is not what was followed here. Clearly, I think Robertson Ben had his hands in this matter because from the outset, Robertson Ben was shouting, "It did not happen! It did not
Yeah.
happen!"
But
So
but
he
uh, but
he,
Ganesh, an interesting facet of this whole thing. The DPP said to the speaker, "You have to look at this matter within the standing orders of the National Assembly." Right? That has not been done as yet. The police has pronounced on the matter, and the
man,
speaker said,
Sherrod,
based on what the police has said, he is not proceeding any further with it.
the speaker, in my humble opinion, is deaf and blind on the right side of his anatomy. He does not
And
see well
compromise.
on his right side. He does not hear well on his right side. And I think because of that deficiency, they say when one of your senses go bad, it strengthens the other senses. So right eye, because his right eye he is not seeing well, it means that his vision on his left eye has increased. And because he's not hearing well on his right ears, his left ears suddenly starts to hear very, very clearly. That is why
He
he
got a
would
lot
hear
of, he got a
myself.
lot of
That is
problems.
why he would hear you, Sherrod. That's why he would hear Sherwin. That's why he would hear our
Yes, he
side,
have to.
but he would not
He might have
hear
to.
the outside.
You know what's
And the man is
interesting?
twice. A lot of other things probably going bad.
You know what's interesting though, Sharon, that the police public statement about no evidence of assault. I am hearing that you just said also that there were witnesses that gave statements. Isn't that considered to be evidence? How is it that there?
Yeah.
I don't. Are we taking the
Well,
eyewitnesses account as doesn't mean
again,
anything?
the state
They
apparatus has
wanted, they
the state
wanted
security
Randy.
apparatus has failed
They
to
wanted
be
camera evidence.
Mhm.
Camera evidence they wanted, and they're not being honest with the public.
Yeah, but they ain't got
Where
cameras in
this
main and
action
walking like that.
occurred,
What's this thing about?
where this action occurred, there is no camera in that vicinity. So you cannot tell people that the camera didn't see anything or the camera didn't pick up anything. You're trying to tell us that the camera was there but they didn't see anything. It's wrong. The
Yeah.
fact of the matter is that where this incident occurred, there is no camera. But when Kwame McCoy was frantically moving back and forth and he came and he grabbed Zulfikar Mustafa from
Yeah.
the company of Ganesh Maipal and Kemraj Ramkitan, you could have sensed from his body language that something is
Mischief has
wrong.
been afoot. Yeah.
And the way he was
Yeah.
frantically flicking his phone and moving his hands, and that is not the character he happens to be. Kwame
Yeah.
is a type
Mischief was
of
afoot.
person. He's a bully. He's a hooligan. He's a thug. So when you see him moving in a manner of guilt, and you see how nervous his facial reaction was, one would easily assess and conclude that Kwame just did something wrong. It is unfortunate that the cameras that there is no camera at that particular location. And equally so, there were other incidents that occurred in the National Assembly. Cathy's laptop went missing and suddenly reappeared. Hemraj laptop got stolen, but yet they have not found it necessary to put cameras in these locations because it's not just members of parliament that has access to these rooms.
Yeah.
Many other persons have access to these rooms, and I am by no means casting blame casting blame at anyone. I believe we have a distinguished team at the National Assembly, hardworking staff that are doing an excellent job in terms
Yeah.
of serving the members of parliament, and that comes from the clerk of the National Assembly right down to the cleaner of the National Assembly, if I may put it that way. They're doing an exceptionally good job. But we
Rightly said.
have other people, staff of
Jagabats.
various ministries. The parliament is
Jagabats.
a very vulnerable place, you know.
Yeah. Very
They
much so.
even though they have hundreds of police officers, it is still not a heavy security measure by just having these officers present there. Because, but like I said, I'm not casting blame on no one. All I am saying is to remove doubt
Secure.
and to avoid the occurrence of such
Yeah.
events.
Secure.
One will expect that you have the necessary measures in place. So you will expect the cameras to be working. You will expect the cameras to be serviceable. You will
Yeah.
expect the police officers to be vigilant. You will expect people to move with a level of decorum also. So it calls for us to put measures in place to avoid the occurrence of such events.
Ganesh, you know there's a book called Great Expectations. I feel
I
you
mean, they
have
can see.
great expectations of the PVP, and I said this afternoon that sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, we set the bar too high for the PVP. The basic things, they stumble on that bar. They can't get over that. Things that you would expect, these expectations that we have of them are way too high. These people are incapable of doing what is right. So those expectations that you are assuming that we should have, I think those might be normal for the average Guyanese, but for the PVP, those are great expectations. To expect anything other than madness and shambles. My word is shambolic.
Yeah.
Anything other than shambles. If you have a
Randy,
toy in the parliament, that is what you can expect. You should put
Randy, as you're on expectations, I want to give you guys the last word just after these announcements that I have. So, folks, coming up in the ring as we draw to program time, coming up during the week, the in the ring happenings. I continue to have my Zoom in the mornings. Members of the public can reach me on Zoom and have a one-to-one. Any issues that you are facing, I'm be happy to help you navigate them in the morning from 9 to 10. And this link is posted on my Facebook page. And also tomorrow evening, we have a diaspora program. And I hope to have this program on Wednesdays in the diaspora. In the ring, we have quite an interesting panel from the diaspora tomorrow evening. And then on Thursday, we have the Talk Back Thursday, which we open up the program for you guys to come through live with your comments, with your suggestions, with your commentary on anything that's of public interest. So that's coming up. Again, that is the Zoom in the mornings from 9 to 10 with me. And then tomorrow evening, we have the in the diaspora program. And then on Thursday, we have the Talk Back Thursday evening. And then Friday, as you know, is Good Friday. We're going to have another special program on Friday night. Guys, as we wrap up, your thoughts.
Thank you, Sherrod. I want to tell all our viewers and all our listeners that they should hold the line of battle. Joy will come to us in the morning, and I say to you, an election will be held in this country again. And when that elections are held, the regional and general elections, I expect them to come out in their numbers and signal no to the People's Progressive Party, and yes to the APNU AFC. I take this opportunity to call on the Guyana Elections Commission to recognize the desperate need, the plea of the Guyanese people, the majority. There is a need for a clean and accurate list of electors. We cannot afford to go back to an election with that faulty list of electors. And I appeal to the Guyana Elections Commission to hold house-to-house registration so that we can have a clean and accurate list of electors, and the true will of the Guyanese people can be reflected in the elections results. And I'm sure, without a doubt, and without successful contradiction, the APNU AFC will resume the seat of government sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Great. Randy?
Um, I am concerned about what is happening at the Ministry of Health. We had the deadliest month. We had over 30 persons dying in this month, Sherrod. And it seems as though the Ministry of Health is incapable or, or they're unwilling to do the things that they need to ensure that we as Guyanese are safe. So I'm appealing to Guyanese to do what they need to do to protect themselves and their family members and their friends, because as we saw over the past month, this is real. This is real, and we need to, again, I'm expecting that the Ministry of Health would, with their three ministers, would be able to handle this, but it doesn't seem so.
Excellent. Guys, thank you for joining. Ringsiders, thank you for having the testicular fortitude and the intellectual aptitude for being ringsiders this evening, and for my guests, both Member of Parliament Ganesh Mahi Paul and social commentator and social media program host Randy Critchen, and also councillor from Region 4. Thanks for having the testicular fortitude and the intellectual aptitude for stepping in the ring. Guys, continue to social distance, wear mask, sanitize. Do stay safe. Have a great evening. See you tomorrow evening. Diaspora night. Stay safe, guys.
Thank you, Sherrod. You too.
Stay safe.